We are diving into a deep, silent health concern today. It's one that
Yeah,
kind of hides in plain sight, maybe even in the healthy food aisle.
that's right.
Did you know that your favorite daily snack, maybe just a handful of nuts, could actually be silently, well, stressing your kidneys, accelerating damage?
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And we're focusing today on a key marker um, called creatinine. It's essentially a waste product from just normal muscle use.
Okay.
And it's probably the most critical single indicator of how well your kidneys are actually filtering your blood. And frankly, it's a big factor in, overall life expectancy.
Wow.
When that creatinine number starts to climb, it's a clear warning sign. It means the body's main filters are struggling.
And the stakes are just, well, staggering. I was looking at the CDC data. Over 37 million Americans living with chronic kidney disease, CKD.
It's a huge number.
But the really terrifying part, 90% of those people don't even know they have it. We could be talking about nearly 1/3 of all U.S. adults potentially walking around with compromised kidney function, completely unaware.
It's why kidney disease gets called the silent killer. Symptoms like fatigue or maybe slightly high blood pressure, they often get dismissed.
Right, just getting older, people think.
Yeah, or stress. So the disease just progresses quietly until the damage is really quite severe. And honestly, proactive nutrition, it's the single best tool we have to try and slow that down.
So our mission today is basically a shortcut. We want to give you informed dietary choices, specifically tailored for kidney health. We're going to dive into the source material, identify 3 really common, often praised nuts that actually act as, well, silent stressors.
Right, because of things like high potassium or phosphorus or other compounds that are hard on the kidneys.
And then we pivot. We look at 3 kidney allies nuts that the research suggests can actively support filtration, maybe reduce inflammation, and help naturally stabilize that creatinine number.
Okay, let's really unpack this first. Why do foods that we generally think of as, nutritional superstars suddenly become problematic when kidney filtration is strained? What's going on there?
Yeah, it really boils down to overload. A healthy kidney is amazing. It handles huge amounts of electrolytes, waste products, no problem. But when kidney function declines, even by a bit, those filters just can't keep up with the usual dietary load, and that leads to this dangerous buildup of certain minerals.
Okay, overload. Let's start with a classic then. Cashews. You see them everywhere, often touted as heart smart. But if someone's managing kidney health, where does the data say we need to be cautious? Cashews are definitely first on our list, mostly because of their significant phosphorus burden. They're great for general health, sure, but that high phosphorus content, it puts a major strain on kidneys that are already struggling. Phosphorus is one of the hardest things for weak kidneys to filter out.
How high are we talking? Can you give us the numbers that really matter from the sources?
Absolutely. So standard USDA data shows 100 grams of dry roasted cashews. That's about, 3.5 ounces contain around 660 milligrams of phosphorus.
660.
Now, compare that to the clinical advice. A key study, I think it was in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, recommends CKD patients keep their total daily phosphorus intake below 800 to 1,000 milligrams.
Wow. Okay, wait. So just one decent handful of cashews, maybe 100 grams worth over a day, could hit almost 70% of that maximum limit.
Precisely. That's the danger. It adds up incredibly fast.
And if that phosphorus isn't filtered out, what's the long-term consequence? What happens inside the body?
Well, when excess phosphorus builds up in the blood hyperphosphatemia, it dramatically increases the risk of artery calcification,
Calcification, like hardening of the artery.
literally hardening the blood vessels. And this, of course, just compounds heart issues, which are already really common in people with kidney decline. Plus, cashews also have a decent amount of potassium, which just adds another layer of stress for the kidneys.
That's a scary consequence, hiding in a seemingly simple snack. It's amazing how many of these general healthy items can turn into landmines for specific conditions. Okay, let's pivot to almonds, maybe the ultimate poster child for healthy snacking. What's the specific issue there, according to the research?
With almonds, the number one concern is a massive potassium overload. They're just incredibly rich in potassium.
Right.
And it makes them inherently risky for anyone whose kidneys aren't filtering potassium efficiently. Even a small serving, like 1 ounce or 28 grams, can pack up to 200 milligrams of potassium.
And what happens if a compromised kidney just can't process that much potassium quickly enough?
Well, that can rapidly lead to a really dangerous, potentially life-threatening condition called hyperkalemia. High potassium in the blood.
Hyperkalemia, okay.
Symptoms often start subtly. maybe fatigue, muscle weakness. But the critical risk, the big one, is dangerous heart arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats.
Right. And the guidelines reflect that risk.
They do. Research, like studies in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases, generally suggests CKD patients aim to stay below maybe 2,000 to 2,500 milligrams of potassium per day. Now, if you eat 100 grams of almonds, you're already taking in over 700 milligrams.
Okay, hold on. So is the real problem just the sheer amount in the almonds themselves, or is it more about how easy it is to stack that risk without realizing, have almonds as a snack, plus maybe a banana earlier or tomatoes in your salad?
It's absolutely both. The volume in almonds alone is high, yes. But the ease of combining them with other common high-potassium foods, avocados, potatoes, spinach, dairy, that's the real danger factor. People think they're making a smart swap, maybe replacing chips with almonds.
Happens all the time.
But they're inadvertently adding this significant burden right when their filtering capacity is already strained.
Okay, our third nut on the, let's call it the caution list, is chestnuts. They seem different, right? Soft texture, lower fat, kind of a comfort food, especially in colder months. Why does the research flag them as potentially risky for kidney health?
Yeah, that soft, slightly sweet nature kind of fools us, doesn't it? Makes us think they're gentle on the system. But chestnuts actually bring two hidden problems, according to the sources.
Two. Okay.
First, they're surprisingly high in starches and complex sugars. We're talking nearly 80% of their total calories.
80%. Wow.
Yeah, and this can cause unexpected spikes in blood sugar. That forces the kidneys, which are actually deeply involved in managing blood sugar, to work harder just to maintain balance. This seems particularly risky for older adults or those with borderline diabetes.
And the second issue, you mentioned two. This one sounds more direct. Kidney stones.
Correct. Chestnuts are surprisingly high in oxalates.
Hmm.
Now, most people associate oxalates with things like spinach or rhubarb, maybe.
Right.
But the Mayo Clinic, for instance, warns that regularly consuming over, say, 100 milligrams of oxalates per day significantly raises the risk of developing calcium oxalate kidney stones. And guess what? Just 100 grams of chestnuts get you pretty close to that daily limit.
So it just adds to the overall workload the kidneys have to deal with.
Exactly. More filtering, more potential for stone formation, more stress.
So what seems easy on the stomach isn't always easy on the kidneys. Okay, if almonds, cashews, even seemingly gentle chestnuts are potentially problematic, that raises a huge question for anyone trying to manage their kidney health. What can we safely eat? What actually supports the system instead of straining it?
Now this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Moving from just avoidance to active nutritional support, we're looking for nuts, or seeds in one case, that can help stabilize creatinine, maybe help cleanse the blood, and crucially, reduce that systemic inflammation that often drives kidney damage in the first place.
Okay, let's start with one that's become quite popular. Flax seeds. We usually hear about them for, cholesterol or digestion, right? But the sources suggest they're being looked at as a natural therapy for kidney filtration support.
Yeah, flaxseed is shaping up to be a genuine superfood for creatinine management. It seems to address the waste products directly.
How does it do that?
It's uniquely rich in soluble fiber. This type of fiber actually helps bind to waste products like urea, nitrogen, and creatinine in the gut.
Oh, interesting. So it stops some of it from even getting into the bloodstream for the kidneys to filter.
That seems to be the mechanism, yes. It reduces the overall load the kidneys have to eliminate. Plus, flax is packed with alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, which is a potent anti-inflammatory omega-3.
And you mentioned data earlier, but we have some hard numbers on this, right? That's always key for making these choices.
We do. There was a notable study in 2020 published in the Renal Failure Journal. It tracked individuals who had mild kidney impairment already. They added 30 grams of flaxseed daily to their diet.
Okay, 30 grams. What happened?
After just 12 weeks, they saw their blood creatinine levels reduce by an average of 18%.
18%. From adding flaxseed, that's a huge shift.
It's a very significant improvement from a simple dietary addition, yes.
Okay, but hang on. If I'm reading this source material correctly, there's a catch, isn't there? The preparation is absolutely essential. You can't just, sprinkle whole flax seeds on your yogurt and expect that 18% drop.
Absolutely not. That's a crucial point. You must grind the flax seeds into a fine powder. Whole seeds, they just pass right through the digestive system, mostly undigested.
No, okay.
The grinding breaks them open, releasing that soluble fiber and the ALA so they can actually work. The recommendation is usually about 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flax, maybe 10 to 15 grams, mixed into something like oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie.
Good tip. And anything else to keep in mind?
Yes, one more important thing. Drink plenty of water when you consume ground flax. That soluble fiber is incredibly absorbent, so you need the extra fluid to, well, keep things moving smoothly.
Right, makes sense. Okay, moving to our second kidney ally, macadamia nuts. Now, these often get a bit of a side eye because they're high in calories, high in fat,
Hmm.
but the research suggests they have a kind of hidden mechanism that specifically supports kidney health.
They do. And the key is in the type of fat they contain. They're rich in healthy monounsaturated fats, but particularly one called omega-7 palmitoleic acid.
Omega-7, I haven't heard as much about that one.
It's less famous than omega-3, but really interesting. A 2021 study, I believe in the Journal of Functional Foods, showed that omega-7 actively helps lower inflammatory cytokines.
Cytokines, those are the chemical messengers that signal inflammation, right?
Exactly. And these specific cytokines can directly damage the kidney's delicate filtering units, the glomeruli and tubules. So by reducing this chronic low-grade inflammation, macadamia nuts appear to help protect the kidney structure and improve natural filtration over time.
And critically, comparing them back to cashews or almonds, they don't overload the system with those problem minerals, potassium and phosphorus.
That's the other huge benefit. They are beautifully low in those key electrolytes. Per 100 grams, you're looking at only about 200 milligrams of potassium and roughly 188 milligrams of phosphorus.
That's significantly lower than almonds or cashews.
Way lower. So this combination being energy-rich from healthy fats, but low in the electrolytes that strain weak kidneys, makes them an excellent kidney-friendly choice. You get the nutritional boost without stressing the filters.
So if someone wants to integrate these, what's a good daily amount? Any tips on consumption?
The suggestion is usually around 5 to 7 raw, unsalted macadamia nuts per day. That seems to be a good balance. One small tip, maybe try to avoid eating them right before bed. The high-fat content could potentially disrupt sleep for some people, and good sleep is really vital for systemic repair, including kidney repair processes.
Good point. Okay, finally, let's turn to walnuts. These are pretty widely available, often called an anti-inflammatory powerhouse. How do they specifically help with blood filtration and protecting kidney cells, according to the research?
Walnuts are fantastic. They're one of the best plant-based sources of that anti-inflammatory ALA omega-3 we mentioned with flax. So they definitely help reduce chronic inflammations systemically. But their benefit seems to go even deeper for kidneys. The unique combination of polyphenols and tocopherols, types of vitamin E found in walnuts, appears to enhance the permeability of kidney cell membranes.
Okay, what does enhancing membrane permeability actually do for the kidney?
It basically helps with filtration at the micro level. It seems to make it easier for the cells to pass waste products through and potentially aids damaged kidney tissue in its recovery processes. It's like making the filters themselves work a bit more efficiently.
And again, there's solid research backing this up.
Yes, quite impressive research. A study highlighted in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed individuals who added walnuts regularly to their diet. They found a 32% reduction in C-reactive protein, which is a major marker of inflammation in the body.
32% lower inflammation, wow.
Huge reduction. And, crucially, they also observed significantly improved kidney filtration function within just 12 weeks. So walnuts seem to offer both protection and potentially some repair support.
And their electrolyte profile. Compared to, say, almonds or cashews, where do they sit on the potassium-phosphorus scale?
They're moderate, definitely lower than almonds and cashews, making them a much safer choice for many people, especially those with mild to moderate kidney impairment who are carefully managing their intake through diet. They offer the benefits without the high mineral load.
Okay, so if you're going to incorporate walnuts, what's the suggested amount? And is there a best time?
About 4 to 5 walnut halves per day seems to be the recommended amount to get the benefits without overdoing the minerals.
4 to 5 halves, okay.
And ideally, maybe have them as a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack. Perhaps swap out that old handful of almonds for these. One small note. Because they're quite nutrient-dense, some sources suggest avoiding eating them on a completely empty stomach, just to minimize any potential digestive discomfort for sensitive people.
Right.
Good practical tip. Okay, so we've really charted a clear path today, haven't we? We moved from identifying those silent kidney stressors, the high phosphorus in cashews, the potassium overload risk with almonds, and that dual threat of oxalates and sugars in chestnuts, to these gentle but powerful science-backed protectors. We saw the fiber cleansing effect of ground flax seeds, the specific anti-inflammatory omega-7 boost from macadamias, and the protective, maybe even cell-repairing power of walnuts. It really shows how simple, mindful nutrition choices can support the body, especially these incredibly important quiet workers, the kidneys.
It really is fascinating, isn't it, how seemingly universal healthy habits, like grabbing a handful of almonds, need significant tailoring, sometimes drastic tailoring, when just one specific number, like creatinines, signals an imbalance.
Yeah.
What's smart and healthy for one person could actually be harmful for another, depending on their kidney function. It underscores that knowledge is really only valuable when it's understood and applied correctly to your own specific health context. And that tailoring, that application, it really starts with knowing your status, doesn't it? Which brings us back to that shocking statistic from the sources. 90% of the 37 million Americans with CKD don't even know they have it.
90%. It's hard to grasp.
So considering that, and considering the potential impact these simple dietary swaps we discussed today could have on managing creatinine levels and slowing progression, it really raises a crucial question for you, the listener, to think about. How might regular proactive creatinine screening, making it a standard part of checkups, perhaps change the way we approach nutrition, not just for those already diagnosed, but for the entire general population before major symptoms or irreversible damage even appears?
Hmm.
That feels like a potential societal shift in preventative health that is certainly worth exploring further. Definitely something worth demanding, perhaps.